Hey folks, how you doing? I'm back again. Oh, who'd have thought that this would happen? 2 weeks in a row, you'd actually get to see me doing this. I will cut through the chase. We're looking at cups. We looked at one cup before. I think we looked at the League Cup and we looked at the FAI Cup. The FAI Cup now is a gigantical thing with 660 plus teams in it. So we're not going to redo that for you. But I do want to show you a little bit. I like to do regional cups, and at a certain point I'm going to do a couple of different ones. So I'm going to start off today, by showing you how I'm going to create the Waterford Junior Cup. And it's a very simple thing. And once we've got that created, we will create more. So competitions, let's find one to build from. Always is Ireland. I'm then going to create a proper regional cup that has teams in different divisions, which is a lot more difficult and a lot more exciting and a lot more worthwhile when you can actually do it. What is the thing? A type is cup, domestic cup. So this is basically the procedure that I go through every time I'm creating some kind of cup. It's going through a load of different things, seniors and this cup and that cup and the other cup. We don't want anything that's particularly overpowered as a cup. We want something that's pretty small, that's manageable. So in this case, we're going to add a cup. We're going to call it, and I'll fill in all the other details later. So it should be the Irish Waterford Junior Cup. You could call it a League Cup, it doesn't really matter. Waterford Junior Cup. I'll fill in all the other bits and pieces at a later point. We do need to get in that it is Ireland. Name IREL. So we've got choices. Which Ireland could it possibly be? That'll sort that out. Parent competition doesn't need one. Reputation. This is a junior league cup that operates on the 7th level, so let's call it a 4 in terms of reputation. Is extinct? No. This is important. Type needs to be domestic cup, unless you want it to be a domestic league cup or something like that. Boundaries, I'll fill all that kind of stuff in later. All these bits and pieces, they're all important. Like media policies, how many questions do you get in these kind of things? Contract types, must all players be of a certain thing? That will be useful later on in a future episode of miscellaneous stuffs. History and records, well, I'm creating it, but it does exist in the real world. There is a Waterford Junior Cup. All the local junior leagues have some kind of thing, but we don't have all the time in the world. So let's look at the basics. You can fill in that stuff later. What we want now is to go down to cups, under nation rules, cups, add, other cup. Now let's select a competition. Hopefully it should be listed here. Waterford Junior Cup. Okay, select teams. Now, this is a junior cup involving only junior teams, so I'm going to pick the 2 Waterford leagues. Now, this is the tricky bit. So hopefully, when I have the screen this size, it's in order for me to be able to maximize, let's say, what I'm doing, and I can get through as much of this without difficulty as possible. So we have 17 teams. Ooh, that makes for an exciting league. Number of legs. Will we do 2 legs for this? No, let's do 1 because they're going to have junior cups and all kinds of things coming in. Extra time and penalties. Is there a choice for a replay? No, but we're going to put a replay in later. 3 from 5. Let's make it 3 from 7. 3 from 7, to be honest, and an extra time sub. No, let's go 2 extra time subs. I like to make them all sort of somewhat unique, which oftentimes means they're somewhat random, but we'll see. Waterford Junior Cup. Here we go, down here again. You've got 3 choices: general, cup rounds and fixture rules. So it's another cup, knockout round, 17 teams in it. And let's see. So yeah, we're just going to take all teams from both leagues. Excuse me. We can choose to do something different there if we like. Competitions to finish first before setting up. No need for that. Seed by division, reputation. No, let's go random. Let's make it all the crazy. So that's that. Fixture rules. If we wanted to add in say minimum number of foreign players in a match squad or playing 11. There's so many choices. I'm going to keep it straightforward and simple, and I'll remove that. We're more interested in the cup rounds for 2 reasons. Ooh! So 2 teams go into the first round, and then it's 8. So 1 poor team loses out big time. We can choose the dates. This is Junior League, so it's probably not going to be late in the season when this is actually fought out for. I normally work my way back from a cup final date. So let's try the 19th of October for the cup final. And let's keep it a late season competition so that there's more fun and game to be had. 18th of September. Let's go into August. And we'll go with 28th of August. And keep this one in July. Oops. And we'll make it the 31st of July. We're going to back end all of this. And so let's have keep this in July as well. The 17th of July is the preview. What's the word I'm looking for? The earlier round. Now, doing that means we can adjust a lot of things simultaneously. For example, number of replays, we have 1. I think 1 replay is a good thing to have. Let's make the the games during the earlier rounds evening games. Make it 7:30 of a kickoff, and we can make an appearance money for each game of €250. So no matter what happens in a game, each team, except for the final, gets €250. For the final, let's put that in a specific stadium. Let's put it in Waterford United Stadium, which is the regional sports centre, which is technically the perfect stadium for it. Regional sports centre. Let's see how many regional sports centres there are in the world. There is 1. Excellent. Appearance money for a final should be bigger, shouldn't it? Let's say for the final we'll put it as €1,000 and an additional, come on. I generally don't bother putting in prize monies for a loser if there's a standard appearance fee, but you can do if you want, so that you get a little bit extra, but I'm not going to on this occasion. Earlier rounds, we can sort out how much money. Everybody gets 250 quid for every appearance, so let's make this 750 if you win a semi-final. It can be 500, not 5,000 if you win a quarter final. Close that. It can be 250 if you win second round, and if you win this is where I would put in prize monies for a loser. Let's make it €150 and 250. Yeah, let's just leave it as 150 for whoever loses out in the first round, so that they don't get completely stabbed. The final thing I tend to do is I tend to look for names for the rounds. So if I put in final, I get the final. Oops. Search. Semi-final. And actually, you know how to get quarter-final at this point. I mean, you're not Ludramond entirely. If you're a Ludramond entirely, please do comment, and to prove it, you can give me whatever your social security number is. First round, second round, so on and so forth. Easily done, yeah? Straightforward. Now, the tricksy one, the one I get super excited about because I've been able to finally figure it out, is the Senior Cup. Now, let's add a condition, and we'll look for the name by Senior Cup. Oops. No, not Domestic Main Cup. So the Senior Cups are, in Ireland, the major cups. They're not. They're the intermediate, they're the provincial FA's different cups. Realistically, only the Leinster and Munster ones are regularly run, and normally the top teams come in the later rounds. We're going to do a little bit of funny business with this. I think I've got time. I don't want to overdo this. I don't want this to be too long. I want to try and keep this into 10 minutes. So we have Connacht, Leinster, Ulster and Munster so far. I'm going to make one that sort of is parallel for the Ulster Cup. The Ulster Senior Cup I kept as being a 26 counties cup, and what I'm going to create is basically a 6 counties cup. So I'm going to call it the Irish Red Hand of Ulster Cup. Red Hand of Ulster Senior Cup. I'm going to not even call it a Senior Cup. I'm going to call it the Ulster Red Hand Cup. And this is going to be call it RH Cup. Blah blah blah. Reputation is going to be way low because, well, I mean, this has never really existed before. Hugely important. You need to put in that it is a domestic cup because that will pay off much later. Other details, as always, you can fix up yourself. It's not difficult. The most difficult thing, let's see, Ulster Cup. The most difficult thing will be getting the teams to play there, because you've got, at least at the moment, Derry City is in the top division and the other teams are in other divisions as you go along. So you're wondering to yourself, why did he duplicate this? Why did he create another one? And why is he putting the word eligibles in? You'll notice I've kept the type unclear. This is where I tend to use the secondary divisions, because if I went to go and create the Ulster Senior Cup right now, I'd have a nightmare of a job trying to pick out every club individually, and you can do this if you want to, but it is a royal pain in the arse. So we need to do a little bit of chicanery here. We're going with Continental Cup nation and based nation. So the Continental Cup nation is Ireland. And the based nation is Northern Ireland. So there's 14 teams here listed, not including Derry City. So we have 14 teams in the Irish Ulster Cup. So we've got 1 in the top division, 2 in the junior leagues, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the Junior League, Ulster Junior League 1, which is the partition league. 2 in the Ulster League Senior Division, and 2 in First Division, and 2 in the Premier. So let's edit, catch all these together, edit, and we go to competition. Again, don't touch anything that doesn't that's unmarked, because then you make it so for everybody. Second division is search, add condition, name, and I just put in eligibles. I'm sure there's another way of doing this, but this is the easiest way I've had of doing it so far. So all the teams that are in the region I want, and you can do this with whatever thing you want to do, are now consider their secondary division to be the Ulster, the Red Hand of Ulster Cup. So we've done the groundwork. There's Waterford still. We'll get back. I'll deal with Waterford at a later point. We'll go to cups. We're going to add a cup. We're going to add another cup. Select a competition. So we need our Red Hand of Ulster. Ulster Red Hand Cup. Okay, select teams. Now, what this automatically does, it gives you a list of things. You can do this the hard way and just list all the teams, but this is the much, much easier way. Let's look for our eligibles. Leinster Senior Cup. Munster Senior Cup. Keep going down. Ulster Senior Cup eligibles. Should have Connacht somewhere. Red Hand of Ulster, or Ulster Red Hand Cup eligibles, 16. So let's, for the Ulster Cups, for these cups I've tended to do 3 plus 1 from 9, or 3 from 9 plus 1 extra time sub. Put the games on a Tuesday and finish. Now, it should exist. I've been testing this, and I'll show you how to test these things at a later point. Actually, one thing I'm going to do, this should be a more important cup than the Waterford Cup. So highlight it and move up or down as you need to. Red Hand of Ulster Cup, knockout rounds. If, for example, in the case of the Leinster Cups, there's about 290 Leinster teams. What I've done is I've picked from the eligibles the first however many. So you can get teams from divisions, get random teams, get first teams only, which should pick the top ranked teams. So in this case I want all 14. In another one you might want a certain amount. Seeded by division reputation. Nah, let's go random teams. Can have Derry in at the very beginning or whenever they show up. Fixture rules, for all of these I was making requirement of under 21 players in the match squad. Where's the under 21s in the match squad? And minimum of 5. Cup rounds. So this is obviously a final. We're okay with 12 going in the first round, actually, and 2 going in the second round. I feel now I really ought to actually make it seeded by reputation. That feels fairer, because Derry should be coming in later, to be honest. Final, semi-final, we'll call this the first round. Here's where I regret already not picking the quarter final up, so I could sort it. Final. Now, let's pick that final. Let's tinker with it. Replays? It's Ulster. Ulster's crazy land. Let's give them a replay. National Stadium. Let's go for a neutral stadium, but if we go neutral stadium, it could be anywhere in the country. So let's go for search. Nation is Ireland. Northern Ireland, actually. Northern Ireland. And capacity wise, we'll go with the biggest stadium that feels like it's friendly to us. Solitude in Cliftonville. Interesting. I don't see Derry cities here. There's the Brandywell. 3,700. I thought there were way more than that. Way more. Actually, let's go the showgrounds. Now, well, let's go with Solitude. It's in a different league, and that makes it interesting in and of itself. Appearance money and prize money. What I've been doing for these is giving multiple thousand, because you do have senior clubs here. So let's make the appearance money for this one. I've normally been doing double, so I think Leinster and Munster were 10 and 10, and this is probably best put at being 6,000 and 6,000. And then what I'm going to do is do it all the way up. I'm going to have these as 2-legged games, though. Number of legs is... Oops. Oh, I think it's put in 2 automatically, and I'll work out the dates accordingly. Put this back into, where is it, September. I think it was the 22nd I had the other one for Ulster. And we'll make it, the finals on the 22nd at 2:30. And we can so on and so forth with all of these. Now, I think that's a ton of stuff that would be useful in your building different divisions. I could be wrong. You tell me. Hopefully this has been enjoyable. Hopefully this has been educational. I had to find out the regional stuff. I've been doing these leagues for years, and I've tended to give up a little bit with the Munster and the Ulster Cups, because they automatically exist in Football Manager, but creating them has been a pain. And I have literally done the thing on one occasion of going down, picking all the teams that would automatically be eligible, like for example in anything in the Munster Senior League down, automatically added, and then trying to pick off the teams in the top one at a time. The problem is, if, for instance, let's take a team like in Munster, Rockmount, or in Munster Senior League, and they get promoted, then automatically they're not available to play the league anymore. And if for whatever reason, from 4 Leinster teams get relegated from the second division south, 2 of them end up in Munster, and all of a sudden they're playing in the Munster Senior Cup. I had a lot of problems. I remember one year spending forever trying to figure out how I could stop Shamrock Rovers automatically playing in the Munster Senior Cup every year. This eligibles thing, as I call it, the secondary divisions, have made it so much easier. In some ways it works better than the streamed tier leagues now anyway. Anyway, that's my bit for now. There'll be another one next week. Now that I'm getting to the end of doing this, I am in a position where I can actually do stuff fairly frequently and fairly regularly. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, the usual stuff. Check out my Finland save. And soon, very soon, hopefully before the middle of the summer, we'll be looking at an Ireland save based on this. Anyway, for now, folks, ciao.